Hello everybody, today I have the pleasure to propose to you this new key 70 entitled God, Great Overworld Dimensions. Well, we're gonna spend quite a bit of time with this existential, crucial, very important, very wide concept and topic. We will split by 4 chapters in quota mark. It will last around 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Anyway, it's endless topic, because also, this is what I will try to explain you, it is evolving. Probably that God is still evolving, learning through us in the infinite time. That's the point. So, today I'm gonna spend a bit of time for giving you the framework, the structure, the approach, and so on of this complete, let's say, topic, the reason for being of this one as well. But as an introduction, I just would like to share with you the fact that there is absolutely no pretension, there is absolutely no proselytism. This is really humble gift and humble, let's say, testimony, personal testimony. This is based on different perspectives. The theory, the intuition, and the practice. Tip, you remember tip, like advice. This is the methodology we apply, which is a holistic dimension, okay? Meaning thereby that theory, what is it? It is through the books, through the different religion, official, the spirituality, the different approach, cults from the past and so on, from ages, okay? So theory, then practice. It has been just the experience of God, of this concept as well, evolving through time and evolving through the different perception of different testimonies of the different people I met during this life. I had the chance to visit 66 countries in my life, and I lived in many of them. I lived in China, in England, I lived in Portugal, I lived in Mexico, I lived in Indonesia, I live here in Turkey now for a while, let's say 1 year now, but let's say then normally I'm supposed to live in Bali, in Indonesia, but let's say, okay, so every time I had different cultures. No need necessarily to go abroad. When you go to Paris or even in my hometown, there is different nationalities and cultures, so you can have different aspects. What I try to tell you, that's the concept of God is unique for each individual. We are unique, and this perception is unique as well. We are currently, the population, the worldwide population is roughly 8 billion, 7.8, okay? I'm pretty sure that if we had a survey, there would be 7.8 different definitions of the concept of God, okay? And no definition as well. But, and probably even more, because apparently there were, in all, since the beginning of humanity, 107 billion of people, okay? Meaning personality, and then by perception as well. Okay, so this is really important. And another point, I proposed this conference, this talk, this topic during quite a long time, 10 years in Shanghai, in the spiritual center of Shanghai. And recently I did for an interview for a French channel. It's lasts 5 hours and a half, almost 15 minutes, 5 hours, let's say. And I took back my notes, so the structure remains almost the same, but I just kept 60%. And the last one, the last version, was in 3 years ago. What does it mean? It doesn't mean that God changed within this period of time of 3 years, but I evolved through the concept of God and the perception. It's the same principle that we say in Taoism. I'm not sure anymore. I'm confused. Either it's from Confucius, either is from Lao Tzu. Okay, Confucius. I'm confused. But anyway, this is say that we never take the same bath in the same river. Why? Because in the meantime, people evolved, the individual evolved, and its second aspect, the water changed. But it's true for everything. It's true for everything. When you read a book, for example, the one I really want to share with you is from is Conversation with God, okay, bestseller from Daniel Niels Walsh, okay, an American guy. He wrote in, he downloaded it, okay, like channeling. He had this conversation. The first one was in 91 or 93, I don't remember. Anyway, it's not a big deal. So the first time I discovered it and I read it, the first tom, the first volume was in 2001. And I read again in 2015, and there was three volumes at this period of time. I didn't understand and perceive the same, for the same contents, okay? Because I evolved in the meantime, almost 15 years. And recently, a couple of months ago, I read again all of them. There is 4 now. And obviously, it was, again, completely different perception. Not radically different, but I had more information. What does it mean? It means that our perception evolves all the time. And this is what is interesting, because maybe God is experiencing, evolving through us and through our perception. This is very fascinating. So here it is, let's say the framework that we're gonna see in 4 chapters. First, introduction, of course. First point will be the reason for being of this reflection. Okay, this talk, this, let's say, video. Second, a personal and universal dimension. Third, the spheres of God, esoteric and it's an exoteric perception dimension. Okay. 4, God through monotheism and or polytheism. We will see the difference in between polytheism and monotheism. Okay. 5, the attributes of God. 6, God through science. 7, God consciousness, God in consciousness. Okay. 8, this is probably the most interesting one. Why? Because this is the relationship to God and our experience with God. Okay. Very, very important. 9, the divine paradox or divine dichotomy. Okay. And last, it will be the notion of unicity. And unicity you can hear in the language of bird. Okay. Y-O-U. You as individual, you as the whole population, unicity. You are individually unique, and in parallel of you, we are unique as, let's say, period of time. Anyway, so, and then we will see not a conclusion. It will be more something to open. Okay, so an openness. All right. Okay, just one thing. I told you this is really sharing, humbly. No blasphemy, please. Nothing, let's say, undelicate is not my intention. Okay, even if it's not volunteer, of course. Otherwise, I will not do that. Okay. So, one thing very important I told you many times is Rumi, the great Sufi Rumi, and by the way, he lived here. Okay, he lived few kilometers in Konya, in Turkey. He is originally from Persia, in Iran, currently Iran, but he lived his whole life here, and he passed away here. And by the way, there is a place to remember. He said the following that I say to you many times: the truth was a mirror in the hands of God. He fell and broke into pieces. Everybody took a piece of it, and they looked at it and thought they had the truth. What does it mean? It means, and if I can extend the perception, it means literally, this is what I like to say, the absolute truth is the sum of the relative truth with a S. What does it mean? It means that the absolute truth is divine. It's not from this word, it's from God. Yes, the big picture. And the sum of the individuality, I mean the relative truth, means that truth doesn't exist in terms of absolutes. This is true for science. A lot of breakthrough or discoveries or theorems and so on evolved over the time. This is what we saw in the key, science and spirituality. So, a simple example, DNA. We just discovered a few decades ago, less than 40 years, 30 years, that it's evolving. And before we thought it was frozen. Okay, so it's Bruce Lipton work and so on. But not only, but what I try to tell you that truth can evolve. You know, truth would be like an angle, a perception. Here you have just a camera, so you have just a face of myself. Okay, if you would have had different angles of perception, or here, and so on, it wouldn't be the same truth, the same reality in a certain extent. Okay, so beyond of that, I evolved through time. Okay, the planet evolved since the beginning of this video and so on. So this is important. This is exactly the same perception that's the Rubik's Cube. I show you this face, you're gonna tell me the truth is the color is red, and I'm gonna tell you no, it's green, and the guy here will say it's blue and so on. Except that the Rubik's Cube is only 6 faces. And the word would be as a kaleidoscope. You know, kaleidoscope is many faces reflecting and so on. An infinite kaleidoscope. Okay, so that's why it's so important to relativize. I'm not sure about this word. Anyway, well, I just want to tell you as well, that's why this title, Great Overall Dimensions. But even that is acronym, but for me is not exactly what I just want to share with you. In French, and the video in French is Dieu. Dieu means, it comes from Latin, Deus, okay? God, okay? So, I found Dieu, dimension intérieure, extérieure, universelle. You can understand because 30% of English is coming from French. Okay, so what does it mean? It means universal, interior, and exterior dimensions. What does it mean? First, many dimensions, many angles of perception, and also inside and outside. Okay, so this is a concept that a lot of religions forgot about the fact that he could be also within us. Okay, when I was young, I remember is one of my first memory. I was 1 year and a half. I had 5 big memories like this. I mean, essential memories. I was not talking at this period, so I remember very well, and I confront with my parents. It was 14 of the National Day, 14 of July, 81. And it was the apocalypse. Okay, why? Because there is National Day, so on night, firecrackers, and also a lot of lights, boom, 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 and with the reflection with the lake. Well, I was scared, but I was hearing my parents laughing, so I say, okay, it's fine. But anyway, it was not this memory I just wanted to tell you. But one of them was, I couldn't speak. I was 1 year and a half, and I realized, and I had really this feeling that God was everywhere, was in nature, was in the bird, was in the tree, was within me, talking to me, and I was talking to him or her and whatever. But and also I could see a kind of his face, quote marks, sorry, through people, but not always. Sometimes people were shining like, you know, a flame. But a flame is never eternal. You know, it goes and it goes back and forth. It's normal. Okay, it fluctuates, it vacillates. Okay, so this is important. And this is an innocent kid. I had no convention, no pattern of psychology, of, let's say, cultural aspect and so on. So it means for me it was nature. Okay, I'm not saying it's every kid's like this. We have been, if we believe in God, we have been created according to the Creator. okay, with capital C, creator. So we have also to respect those who don't believe. It's like this. It's part of the game. Okay, so, but what I'm trying to do here and what we're gonna do, and this is my whole life philosophy in approach, is really trying to have a certain structure and rigor and, let's say, rationality for believing, in the sense that not believing for believing. I don't inherit from my parents, my generation, my ancestors, and so on. No, because it vibrates within me, because it does make sense. Okay, I don't follow as a goat, as a sheep, but because it does make sense. This is extremely important. Beyond of that, it's also the notion to avoid, blind beliefs, but also superstition. Okay, and passion as well, and affects and so on. Otherwise, the danger of that is to enter into a proselytism. Proselytism, I believe in this, so I want to impose you that you believe the same. Okay? Otherwise, it's a blasphemy, So, I mean, it's, this is difficult, and that's why there is so many taboos regarding religion nowadays, and especially in this concept of God, for naming or not naming and so on. Well, okay, it's relax, take it easy, okay? It means I really aspire to that. We take it easy a bit, okay? We are more benevolent towards this concept. Everybody can have their own perception, or no perception as well. It's respectful, okay? This is normal as well for me. Well, just wanted to tell you as well a very beautiful quotes from Sham et Tabrizi, who is the master, who highlight the light of Rumi, who lived here as well. Sham said, "You can study God through everything and everyone in the universe, because God is not confined in a mosque, synagogue or church. But if you are still in need of knowing where exactly his abode is, there is only one place to look for him, in the heart of a true lover." Of course, lover means to love, okay? To vibrate high frequencies is absolutely nothing to see, of course, with the notion of, let's say, lover kissing and making love and so on. Lover, I'm a lover for my child, for example, is this, of course. What does it mean? It means once you reach high vibration, you are connected to unity and God, okay, basically. So no need necessarily to go to a temple. There is no specific place for that. It can be everywhere. A temple can be here. I told you many times, contemplate, admire, contemplate. You hear temple, contemplate. It's the same origin. So it is within, it is inside. That's the point, actually, what I want to share with you. Second quote I wanted to share is from Da Vinci. Why? Because for him, he was a deep believer and even a mystic. Da Vinci said the following: principle for the development of complete mind. Study the heart, the science of heart, study the art of science, develop your senses, especially how to see, realize that everything connects to everything else. So he's talking about holistic dimension. Everything is entangled, okay? You can learn the beauty of God. It doesn't pronounce God, of course, here, but it's the principle. You can, a complete mind, completeness, you can find it through, and the concept of God, wellness, through the study of art and science and so on. That's really the point. And once again, once you are in high vibration, you are in the unity. You lost your ego and you are back to this unity that we could call God. Okay? The wellness, the fulfillment, the entireness, and so on and so forth. I can use many equivalents, but always to try to say the same. Okay? So, as long as you, but God can be in love, in sex, in games, in just party and so on, in a good food, good mood. Okay, so that's the point. Otherwise, if it is frustration, we are out of it. I'm gonna tell you one thing very important. This is a short story to make it. This is a guy, practitioner, always praying God, God, God. Apparently, according to him, but he was always judging. It's bad. It's sin. It's sin. It's sin. He was seeing sins everywhere, but he was in his eyes. Okay, darkness was in his eyes. So even when he was praying, he was paying attention. They are not praying properly. They are not praying, and so on. Always bad energy. So when he passed away, he goes to hell. Okay, we could define the concept of hell and paradise. It's just to for the short story, of course, because it's a question of vibration. He goes there. He does a scandal because he doesn't understand. For him, he practiced the dogma and so on, the rites and so on. And a prostitute goes to paradise, and he thinks it's scandalous, it's not fair. And he is explained the fact that she was obliged to do this, imposed as a slave, but she was always praying God, vibrating God in the unity, and even sharing that, even with the clients, but everywhere, everyone in general. So she was always in high frequencies. You understand the point? It means that I'm not saying it's bad or it's good. I'm not judging like this, but question of vibration. As long as you are reaching high vibration, emitting, sharing vibration, high vibration, you are close to the unity, and the concept of God. Even on the other way around, if you are vibrating low vibration, you are in the fragmentation, the segmentation, and the etymology of Satan, okay, and diabolus, devil, okay, means to separate. As long as you are in inner conflict, low vibration, your anger and so on, you are literally out of God. Ego edge God out in a certain extent. I'm not saying ego is necessarily bad. It's just a vehicle. When he's a good master, is when he's a good servant is okay. When he's a bad master, it's another story, and is a bit a problem. All right, okay. So let's continue with the reason for being of this this key. This is taboo, and the fact is taboo annoys me a bit. Okay, Seneca say something like, is not exactly the words, but he say, it's not difficult because we don't dare. We don't dare because it's difficult, but it's difficult because we don't dare. So I dare, and I don't want people to think I'm arrogant and I think I master the knowledge and so on, the truth. No. I'm just humbly share. Okay, my humble experience. That's it. And what I try to put together as the different pieces I have in my hands, meeting through my humble experience. That's the point. So, but you know, we don't have this in Anglo-Saxon philosophy, countries, cultures. But in France, for example, Latin country, the word race is forbidden the most. Why? It's because it's too segmenting. Okay, so there is a taboo. We cannot say an Arab is an Arab. We can say a black is a black. Okay, a white is a... No, we cannot say. Okay, race. What's your race? Because normally there is only human race. Okay, but anyway, it's the same principle that God. We cannot say God, but in English it's the same. When you see spirituality nowadays, it's almost a new dictatorship, because you cannot say things like religion, because there is potential conflict with those who could interpret badly and so on, and it could offend some people. But the problem of this is that the fact people feel frustrated not to evoke. You know, I do this video. I made a lot of mistakes, spelling mistake, oral mistake, and so on. And then, what's the point? I try to share some energy, some messages. Okay, I don't mind. So if I'm not rude when I'm talking about God, even if you don't like the word God, use another word. But this is taboo to use especially God. So some people say in spirituality, New Age, and so on, oh, universe, the source, and so. Okay, fine, but what's the point? Okay, I know, and we will see that point, that naming, giving a name to God is also frozen. It's annihilating all the potential. Okay, fine, we can, but otherwise we don't talk anymore. We don't talk anymore. It's true. If we cannot evoke special cases. According to the point that we could offend some people, in that case, we are all frustrated, and we are in a new era for which we cannot think anymore. Also, so for me is a problem, honestly. There is two big taboos: is God and sex. Sex is giving birth. Okay, pleasure as well. I'm not completely prude. And secondly, is God. God is beyond of that is the notion of death. Okay, so one is the birth and the second one is death. Okay, so, but it's a taboo because as for certain religious people, I'm not talking about religion, the initial, let's say, messages. I'm talking about certain perception of religious people. Okay, it's different. It's like this, so you cannot question, you cannot talk about this, because but the problem is that that in Latin, for example, in Christianity, the first one who translated the Bible from Latin to French, in English, sorry, has been killed. How come? If it's beautiful messages, why? It shouldn't be, let's say, accessible to anybody. Anyway. A word to a wise. Okay, so the goal also is to try to establish some bridges between religions, in between religions, some similarities eventually, with spirituality, with science, with believer, with unbeliever as well. Okay, so the goal is also to uninhibit, okay, people to feel more relaxed concerning this concept. That's the point. It's very important to be relaxed with this concept as well, to be sincere, and also because some people have the feeling God is always judging and so on, but honestly, personally, I feel it's just a perception of feeling. It doesn't, okay? And I have that in myself since I'm a kid. I had always a good relationship with him as a lover, as a friend, as a father, a mother. Okay, I can do some mistakes sometimes, but it's okay if I do apologize and so on and so on. And if I try to find the corrective action and I improve myself. So the relationship I had and I still have is a kind of collaboration. You understand? It's a kind of benevolence. It's important. It means that I feel myself, in conversation with God, he say there is a moment regarding sex, and I evoke that in the key 59, not 69, sorry, 59 for sexuality. He explained that when he's talking about his fantasy, phantasma, he say he's a bit like shocked. Oh, we cannot talk with that with God, and he say, come on, God say, I am in all beds. So I created that. Okay, so it's okay. You like, I don't know, this or this, and it's okay, it's fine. You have fun, you enjoy. When it's mutual acceptance, it's completely fine. So that's the point, to be more relaxed and more at ease as well with this concept of God. Okay, it's like we cannot say, some people say, oh, it's a black woman, for example, just for kidding, for instance. We know that it's an intangible concept. So he didn't give birth properly and so on, but it can be a metaphor sometimes. We have the right as well to say different faces of God. Okay, if I say, I saw God through every faces of people potentially within everybody, it is bad to say that? Okay, some people will think it's a blasphemy. Anyway, what I try to tell you is, this is what I really insist. If we put some different cameras here it wouldn't be the reality. And the concept of God is this. It's so wide, it's so everything, it's so infinite. A finite body cannot consider infinity. This is Spinoza who said that. You know, God would be like, not even a movie, it's not a picture, okay, and this is the truth, and it doesn't evolve. You know, it would be like an infinite movies with a S, in potential, in action all the time. So it's impossible to focus. You can have a survey, you can have a trailer, you can have just a movie, but it's not like any kind of topic. It's endless, always. So it's the same principle. But I really think, okay, it's personal, okay, God experienced himself, sorry for the him or her, itself, okay, you understand, we are limited, or oneself, okay, would be proper, okay. God experienced oneself through us, and we try to put the pieces of the big picture puzzle back together of the broken mirror. You remember the first quotes. Experiencing it, or him, every single second through us, and as we, in return, are expressing and manifesting him, or her, or it, and so on. Understand? It would be what I understood, if I understood properly. Let's continue with the second axis, which is personal and universal dimension. I told you in French, my translation is interior and exterior universal dimension. You can hear even Y-O-U, universal, okay? So it means that it would be everything through everything, okay? Meaning nature, birds, myself, yourself, everybody. Okay, sometimes it's a bit sleeping, okay? It's a kind of, it's a joke, saying that the divinity is potentially within everybody. And even the, let's say, the devil part as well. Okay, this is basically the notion of jihad. Jihad means literally in Arabic, it means struggle. An inner battle, inner struggle between our angel and our demon, okay, our devil, okay. So low frequencies, high frequencies, unity, God, and low frequencies, fragmentation, ego, edge God out, okay, just to make it short, okay, and with my humble words, okay. So, you know, Einstein say, first define to me what you think about the concept, the definition of God. I will tell you if I believe or not. And then he say later, if you're talking about Spinoza's God, yes, I believe in it. Okay, is not the ownership of Spinoza, is the concept and perception of God. Spinoza, to make it sure, is a Jewish philosopher. Is Portuguese origin, but he was living in Netherlands when they have been kicked out with Inquisition. And the concept of God, he has been kicked out from the Jewish community because his concept of God was more like animist. The fact that God was everywhere, prevalent, omniscient, omnipresent, everywhere, through everything and everybody, okay? Through the tree, through the dirt, through this bank, through even materialistic things, okay? A tool and so on, a knife, a shirt, and so on and so forth. He is everything, okay? So that's, it was quite revolutionary, but this is exactly the concept that a lot of esoteric people and mystic people had from ages. He was not the first one to feel that. And it was exactly, to be frank with you, what I say to you when I was young, and I was 1.5 years, and I didn't do anything for that. It's not good or bad. It's just a perception, okay? And we have been created like this also, okay? So, one thing very important in Sufism, it is said, is esoteric part of Islam. It is said, always question everything. Never believe blindly without discernment, even this advice. The sixth pillar in Islam is knowledge, inviting subtly people to learn all the religion, all spirituality, science, and everything, because you can find God through everything. This is referring to what we say. You can is not limited to a mosque, a synagogue, and so on, a temple, but it's through people, it's through science, it's through everything. Okay, and it means that is in your daily life. It's just a question of, do I connect with the Wi-Fi or not? Okay, I'm capable, okay, with the cable to listen at this. It's not to hear, it's more to listen. You know, it's exactly what Victor Hugo, the French writer, said, because he was a mystic as well. This is a sad thing to consider that nature talks and mankind remains deaf. Okay, you cannot hear. Okay, so but we could have said to change nature with God. Okay, so everybody has a piece of the Rubik's cube that because it's personal approach evolving. Okay, we will see that with the notion of Taoism. Taoism, okay, you know, yin and yang, is not fixed. It is moving all the time. You know, in Buddhism it's said there is only impermanence. What does it mean? It means that there is a complete evolution all the time. You know, this is something I learned because I was in a Catholic church, Catholic school, sorry. My parents were not necessarily Catholics on the paper. They were believing in something, but they could not identify. But I didn't receive from them any religious thing. Anyway, I remember that the most important messages I catch was the metaphor of God was the living. And the living, what does it mean? It means it is living. So it's evolving, okay? Living means it's a progressive verb, okay? It's a verb of action, okay? So it means it's not frozen, it's not a picture, it's still evolving, okay? Continuously, first. Secondly, it's from Luke, from the Bible, 17:21. It is the kingdom of God is within you. Okay, so it's not outside with a beer judging like a mirador. It's within you, within us. Okay, so it's not outside, it's inward, outward. That's why also this notion of inner word, outer word, interior, exterior, universal dimension. That's why the title in English, I mean in French, sorry, initially is a translation for D-I-E-U, Dieu. Okay, if I spell it, I spell it. I don't cast a spell, of course, but that's very powerful for me, this notion, and very important to keep in mind. You know, I really tried to learn through books, holy books, and also testimony, and to learn through the holistic dimension, the holy, great book of life, of the living, that to say, with people in general. And I definitely think that your soul can connect to the divine soul of everybody in potential, even if they're not aware about that. That's really revealing someone. Okay? That's the point. It doesn't mean you have to. No. You can just, by radiating, you can activate that. Just keep this in mind. And he was probably one of the most important prophets, like Jesus Christ, Muhammad, all of them known, unknown people. Okay? A word to a wise. There is a notion of resonance. And I'm going to quote again, sorry, but it's so perfectly said. It's from Sham et-Tabrizi, is a Sufi again, is the master, I mean, the one who highlight the light of Rumi, Rumi's light. He lived there as well. He said the following. He was a Persian as well. He said the following. How we see God is a direct reflection of how we see ourselves. If God brings to mind mostly fear and blame, It means there is too much fear and blame welled inside us. If we see God as full of love and compassion, so are we. This is so beautiful. We are reflecting, we are reflecting each other to inspire each other, okay? We are reflections. Reflection means like the image, and also cogitare in Latin means to think, okay? Keep in mind. And the second one is for a Jewish Haredim or Hasidim, Baal Shem Tov, saying the beautiful sentence, the man next to you is your mirror. If your own face is pure, the image you perceive will also be perfect. On the other hand, if you see a flaw in the man next to you, it is your own imperfection that you discover. You are shown what you need to fix about yourself. This is really beautiful because we learn through people, and God is expressing himself through other people as well. They bring you a message all the time, positive, negative. I am what I am thanks to the experience encountering what I'm not, okay, what I don't want also. So everything is blessing. This is what we call in Arabic baraka, blessing, okay. I wrote a book about that. It's in French. And if someone, I have 4 or 5 books translated in English. If someone wants to propose to me to edit my book, they all are in English. But if you have time, because they are all for free, but they are translated. I did a job, but probably there is some editing to do. If you are, contact me, please. A word to a wide. This is really important to show the notion, I told you with the guy always criticizing, this is sin, and so on. Low vibration. If we believe we have been created according to the image of the Creator, alright? So, those who don't believe, it's up to them. My father asked me, how do you do for believing? Okay? So, okay, study and you seek and you will find, okay, you can through science and so on, referring to the key 67, we talk about that, okay, right. But if you don't feel it, it's like, can you force yourself about something of your taste bud? You like, you don't like, okay? You can love it, you can like, okay, and so on. Someone, can you force yourself? She has everything on the paper. She's beautiful. She's smart. She's gentle and so on. But I don't feel her. I'm not in love with her. Okay. You can build it. Okay. Another story. But you understand my point. So we cannot force ourselves at a point. So we have to be tolerant as well. Those who don't believe. And some people, they act or they behave differently. What does it mean? It means that those who are in humanitarian, they give their whole life and they don't believe in God. For me, it's not they are more respectful, but they give more high vibration to humanity, okay? So, this is something that my business partner, I don't think he believes in God. I mean, he has his concept, his ideas and so on. He's a gentle guy. He's always helping and so on. He's a good vibration, always enjoying the life and so on and so forth. So, and compared to the guy who always practicing, but practitioner, practicing means you practice your faith, okay, and your high vibration as well, okay, a word to wise again. So for me, that's the most important thing. Honoring the living, okay, is to be at peace, to be peaceful with high vibration, to be peaceful within, peaceful with yourself and peaceful with humanity. Despite they think or they believe or they think as you think and so on. No, not necessarily. Okay? And as long as you emit a high vibration, you're in the completeness, you're sharing, and you're in the tolerance, it brings you to salvation. Okay? Well, This is only the first chapter for this key, which is infinite, of course. I hope it will help you to shape your masterpiece, to open up the doors of consciousness, of love, of whatever you want. As you know, all the roads lead to Rome and to the Dome. Thank you for your attention and see you very soon.